y'all, welcome to Adventura, my commuter bus to camper conversion. I'm glad you came here today. Welcome to the chapter of She Got Lit Up, and we're getting taillights done today. Take time to subscribe and share. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody, and I did make a lot of progress, and I'm going to show you the progress I made, but I have almost all, at least half the ceiling pulled out. I have all the bars pulled out for the handrails that were in here. All those are pulled out. Half the ceiling is deconstructed, and made a lot of progress. Did not get to the handicap ramp, although that is something I would like to get to today. I have to get this thing inspected. So in order to get it inspected, I have to have working tail lights, and I realized that the tail lights are not functioning. So I'm going to take the tail light assemblies apart today, and they're right here, tail lights. These ones right here are especially burned out, but I'm going to just see about replacing the whole tail light assembly and get some brand new stuff in here. I mean, if I got to change it, let's change the whole thing. Let's make it new. Let's make it fresh. I just took out the 8 screws that were in it, and I pulled it off the bus, and there's 3 different plugs here. I'm going to go look up the part number and see if I can get a new one somewhere locally, hopefully, but if not locally, I'll probably order it on eBay or Amazon. So I'm going to go look this up and see what we can do to get housing around these lights, so I can take one out at a time, and basically the whole tail light assembly comes out, and you just have to kind of work it around, and kind of like when you're getting a tire off a car, you got to kind of just start at one side and work it off, and then the whole assembly comes out. So I need 2 of these for sure. Right now, as far as I know, the other 2 are working, but I don't have to replace the actual housing itself. I just want to replace the lights. So that's the idea right now, and we're going to look those up and see what we can find out. Okay, so this is the old panel for the lights. This is the new rings that they gave me, and this is the old rings that they gave me. This is really stiff plastic, and I don't trust the seal I'm going to get from that. So that is gone. I'm going to stick with these because these are in really good shape, and they're good rubber, and I really like the seal I'm going to get from those. So with this rubber, with these covers, and then we're going to lightly sand this here. I'm going to put a new bead of caulk around it, but I'm not going to do that just yet. But I'm going to go find my caulk so I can do a bead of caulk when I need it, and I'm going to rewire these junctions here for the lights, because the old lights had plugs. The new lights have wires, and I've already got these cool little connectors here that I'm going to connect the wires with. So I have an easy way to connect the lights. They're nice, pretty LED lights. They're going to be really great. They're going to work great. I'm just trusting they're going to work great. And I have 3 wires on each, so I'm going to match up the wires. I'm going to get them done.
Okay, so here you can see me cleaning off the assembly and also the rubber housing covers for the lights, and I'm taking a few minutes to really just scrub it as clean as I can. I do end up sanding it later because that did a much better job of cleaning up the excess debris off of it. And now I've started to actually do the rewiring of the whole assembly, and I'm putting the lights actually into the assembly and then putting it all together. So that's the beginning of this process. And there you can see I was sanding it, and I got it good and clean. It's best to get as clean a surface for the caulk to adhere to, so sanding it a little bit is helpful. And I took some time to make sure I wired it. And then if I sand it, I want to put a little paint over it so that I make sure that the metal does not rust. So I had sanded.
So if I can make sense of this at all the blacks on each one of these are a ground wire. This wire goes unused. This is unused here. This is going to the top yellow light. Then we have the brake light, and we have the other light for the brake light, and the running lights for the middle light, and then we have the backup light. All of it is wired in and working. I'm going to put some caulk around the edges of these. I'm also going to put caulk around the edges of the whole thing here, and then I'm going to seal this up and put it back in. bead of caulk around this, and now I'm about ready to mount the lights. I've also wired in the other lights, and I'm about ready to do the same on that side as I did on this side, and we'll have working lights here shortly. So there you go.
Okay, here I am finally doing the last part of this process, and then adding some paint, and then we're going to test the lights, and we're going to go through the whole thing. This was actually a pretty easy process, and I'm really happy that I did it, and I'm happy that I placed all the lights, and you can see they're all working perfectly and functioning as they should. The lesson, or the great thing I took away from this thing is that I only spent about $50 to get the lights. It was about $48 on Amazon, so they were a really good deal. I did not like those little plastic coverings that came with it, so I reused the old ones and repurposed that. So you can see everything is functioning properly as it should, and I'm very, very happy with that progress. So thank you for taking the time to join me. Make sure you take time to subscribe and share.
Perfectly. I ran them through a test, set up my GoPro so I could see when I stepped on the brake lights, if the brake lights worked, if the running lights worked, if the turn signals worked, if the four-ways worked, if the backup lights worked. They all worked perfectly. They're wired in perfectly, and it's all ready to go. There's still a lot of question marks with this thing, but I'm coming along. I'm getting there. Thank you all for joining me this week. I'm glad that you came along. It was a great experience changing out her tail lights and getting her all ready to be able to be inspected and get her license and tags. That's in another video, so come back again and join us for the rest of the journey. Thanks for coming, y'all. Join us again next time.